It feels good, like I knew it would. It feels good, like I knew it would. Every night and day, all the games we play, keep on doing it, doing it, doing it. It feels good. Oh, you know it feels good, feels good, feels good. Oh, you know it feels good. It feels good.
Week 1 of the Audi Quattro Winter Games sees the Alpine event program get into full swing. Some of the heavyweight skiing nations of the world will conclude their off-season training with races here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games. With 4 days of Alpine racing covering Giant Slalom and Slalom, there are some important results and FIS points up for grabs for the best performing races. With Olympic qualification for Pyeongchang in South Korea fast approaching, this is an opportunity for some testing competition ahead of the Northern Hemisphere winter. First up in the Alpine program is the men's and women's Giant Slalom. To give you a sense of what Giant Slalom is all about, here's a racer's eye view courtesy of GoPro.
5, 4, 3.
So out the start gate, onto a very steep pitch here, having to work the skis really hard, keeping a smooth line, getting up to speeds of 65 miles per hour and then tucking into the aerodynamic position to carry that speed across the first flat section. And no sooner do you get into the rhythm of the flat section than you got to look up and prepare for the next steep section, and that is a really difficult, technical, long pitch. Important to stay early and smooth on every gate. Maximize the speed as you come out again at about 65 to 70 k an hour, and then onto an undulating flat section. Thighs already starting to burn, trying to keep a really good line, carry speed, and again get into the aerodynamic position for the last few gates, cross the line. 1 minute of Giant Slalom skiing, and that certainly takes it out of you. So welcome to day 1 of the Alpine program here at Coronet Peak, just outside of Queenstown. The conditions for racing are quite spring-like, and with low cloud cover, the light is fairly flat, which is fairly challenging for the Alpine racers today.
Well, this morning we thought it was going to be a bit soft, but they salted and it's going to be okay for the girls, I think. Definitely the earlier the bib, more advantage. It's pretty good. It's a pretty straight course. Some girls are going to be more confident than others, so yeah, depends what kind of line you take.
We're just here in our training camp trying to get a few starts in, ski as fast as we can, and take it easy. Points are always great to get, so we love that, yeah.
And the first competitor in this ladies' Giant Slalom is local girl Alice Robinson, only 15 years old and a very bright prospect. If she skis really well here, she could set up herself nicely for qualification for the Olympics in February. Straight onto this steep first section, and then getting into that aerodynamic tuck onto this flat part of the course, and immediately setting up for a steep, and as I say that, just doesn't get it right, loses an edge, and you can see her frustration. Hugely disappointing and a bit unfortunate for Alice. And in the start gate, bib number 3, Julia Muchlechner from Germany, just 19 years old and an upcoming talent in the German team. She's already had a first, second and third in Australian and New Zealand Cup races. And in the tuck position here, just setting up as she comes on to the steep. Again, a bit of trouble around that blue gate. A little bit untidy down the steep section, but she seems to be carrying a fair bit of speed. Now, can she keep it smooth over these rollers? The changes in terrain. She comes into the last few turns before the finish. Trying to keep as low and aerodynamic as possible, and that's pretty good skiing. Not bad at all from Julia. Ready in the start gate, Sarah Hector from Sweden, bib 5. Smooth start onto this steep section. Wearing the yellow bib signifying that she is currently leading the Australian-New Zealand Cup Series. Nice and smooth across the flat section and sets up well into this tricky and bumpy middle steep section. Carrying her speed. Sometimes smooth skiing can also be very fast, and it looks to me as if this is a very neat and good run. Sarah was 13th in the 2014 Winter Olympics and is in great form, and goes into second place, just 0.18 seconds behind. And at the top of the course we have Estelle Alfond, bib number 6 from Sweden, just 22 years of age. Good aggressive skiing. Now can she carry that speed across the flats and set up neatly into this really bumpy, tricky section. So many mistakes made by other skiers here, but that's pretty good. Now, carry the speed across the rollers and undulations. This is the daughter of Luc Alphand, who some will remember, a very famous French competitor at World Cup and Olympic level, and also in rally racing. And across the line, and that's good enough for first, with a time of 56.48. On course in the second run, Kirsten Lidsdal from Norway. Very impressive first run, and a good aggressive start. Trying to carry as much speed in the aerodynamic position across the flats. Now, so important to set up and keep high and early in these turns down this tricky and bumpy steep section. Carrying speed. Now, aerodynamic as possible over the rollers, tucking where she can. This is pretty neat skiing, and it looks as if it's flowing neatly down across the finish line, and sure enough, that's good enough for first place at the moment. So in the start gate and ready to go, Jessica Anderson from Great Britain. Pretty steady run, in fact a very good run on the first course this morning, setting herself up nicely in 6th place. And this is a good attacking start. Handling the tricky steep section of the course pretty well as well. Now, what can she do and how much speed can she carry into the rollers and undulations towards the finish of this course? Light is a little bit flat, making it all the more challenging for these racers. That's pretty smooth down across the finish. And that puts her currently into 9th place overall, so pretty impressive for the 19-year-old from Britain. And on course we've got Pierre Hudson, the local girl from Wanaka. Skis out of Coronet, just 21 years of age. Big chance for her here. She said to us after the first run she was going to really go for it and push hard. And as she comes up for the steep section, she is certainly driving and going for it. Now, can she hold it? Got to really try and carry the speed onto the rollers and flatter section towards the finish. Looking pretty good so far. This is good skiing from the young Kiwi. And oh, as I say that, she's just pushed too hard, got a little bit late for that blue gate. And you can see her frustration. That's a big opportunity lost for Pierre, and most unfortunate. Back to the top of the course, and it's Maria Pitala Holmner from Sweden. 31 years of age now. Was 6th place in the Giant Slalom in the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. So a very experienced campaigner. And looking pretty good as she skis this steep, tricky section in the middle of the course. Yeah, this is good dynamic skiing. Trying to hold as much rhythm as possible with the changes of undulation over the rollers. Looking tidy and neat. Just a little mistake there, but down. And that's into second place, just 0.2 seconds off first. Bib number 25, Mina Furst Holtman from Norway. Second after the first run this morning. And she's been on great form and really been enjoying her training here in New Zealand. And she's certainly attacking this second run. Really close and tight to the gates. This is a good line on this tricky steep section. Now she was first 2 years ago at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand, but in the slalom. So I'm sure she'd love to add to that with another podium place this year. And she's certainly going for it. Nice and smooth down through the last few gates and across the finish line. And that is indeed good enough for first, a time of 56.67, a combined time of 1 minute 51.85, and the gold medal to Mina Furst Holtman of Norway.
Welcome back to Coronet Peak for day 2 of the Alpine Giant Slalom program. And what a difference a day can make. In contrast to yesterday, a drop in temperature overnight has transformed the course, making it very firm and much faster. Far better suited to the calibre of racing here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games.
The goal is to have good training, that we can get a lot of places here in New Zealand, and also then to get the younger girls in trying to score some low FIS points here. It's a possibility of getting 6 points, so that's always good to have in the bag before you start the season.
There are a lot of aspiring athletes that are just nudging just below World Cup, and we've got some very talented New Zealand athletes, particularly in the women, but also the men. If you win here, you get the opportunity to start 31 at any other Continental Cup race around the world, and you also get a automatic start in a World Cup, which otherwise is very difficult for athletes from this part of the world.
For the men's race today, we've got some of the best skiers in the world. These guys will be racing the World Cup Giant Slalom in the Northern Hemisphere winter and pushing for Olympic qualification in February. This is also a chance for the Giant Slalom racers to fine-tune their technique and setups necessitated by the new ski rule changes.
So the last few years we've been on a 195 35 meter ski, and they've dropped a couple of centimeters to a 193, and we're now skiing a 30 meter radius. And so what it's done is it's really it's made it a lot more playful, is what I'm finding. You go into a GS and you're really able to get that reaction out of the ski, whereas before you're just forcing the ski around. And it's easier on the body. My back isn't getting as sore, and it's just a lot more fun getting that quick reaction out of the skis now.
So up in the start gate, we're just about ready to go. And on course, Willis Feasy from New Zealand. Now this is a great chance for this young man, just 24 years old. He can improve his world rankings here significantly if he can have a really good couple of runs. And this is neat, tidy skiing. Beautiful pictures. It's a blue sky day. Froze hard overnight. Very different from yesterday. Oh, and a little mistake on the steep section. But he's recovered well and he's carrying good speed. This is neat skiing. Good line, good rhythm. Really flowing down the latter part of this course. A good tuck in towards the finish. And that's a pretty good time, 56.13. We'll see where that leaves him for the second run. Number 3, on course, Daniel Meyer of Austria. A strong but young Austrian team has come down here for the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand this year. But these guys are pretty talented, and this is neat technical skiing, as we always expect from the Austrians. Really attacking this difficult, steep middle section. And flowing nicely into the rollers and slightly flatter part of the course. This is nice skiing into the finish, and that's a time of 55.04, and that's good enough for first. Trevor Phillip from Canada on course. It's pretty steep and tricky, as we've seen. First few gates of this course, but he's handled it well and carries good speed into the tuck, flowing across this flat section, and then very quickly you've got to set up. Oh, a little mistake on that tricky blue and bumping around, but he's really charging. Yeah, he's carrying good speed. He's really going for this. This is a charge. Tight line, clipping the gates. And that's a very good run indeed. Puts him in second place currently. On course, Krzysztof Kreisel from Czechoslovakia, 30 years old and a 3-time Winter Olympian. Plenty of experience. And he's certainly going for it here. This is dynamic skiing. Oh, beautiful pictures as he comes on to this middle steep section. Quick feet. This is a really good line. Flying onto the flat section. Now, can he carry the speed over the rollers? Keep it really tight to the gates. This is good skiing. Well, he lost a little time somewhere. It's only good enough for fifth. Bib 14, another member of this strong Austrian team, Magnus Walsh. Nice and early in the turns, and then into the tuck as soon as he could get into it. And this is a neat line and fast feet onto the steep. Really good technical skiing. Great to see these guys here in New Zealand. He's got a whole host of first places in FIS and Europa Cup races. A real talent. 25 years of age now and across the line in second place. And in the gate, Manuel Feller of Austria. And that's an aggressive start. Charging onto this very steep first section. Really going for this in the first run. Currently ranked 18th in the world. And he was second in the World Ski Championships in St. Moritz this year. And it's just great to see world-class skiing here at Coronet Peak. Little mistake, but keeping his line. Really tight skiing. Down across the line. But again, he's lost a little speed somewhere in the course. Just 9th. Bib number 19. Eric Reed from Canada. 26 years old. Really neat skiing. Sets up well for the flat. Just cruising. Looks so smooth. Again, high and early at every turn. This is really good skiing. Flowing nicely off that steep section into the rollers. Keeping a really nice line. Good rhythm. Down across the finish line. And that's good enough for second place. So we're ready for the second run of the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand Giant Slalom. And in the gate, bib number 35, Matthias Rongren. 23 years of age. A member of this big Swedish squad that are down here in New Zealand. And he's certainly charging the second run. Really going for it. Tight to the gates, nice high line. The conditions have held up so well. It's already pretty warm, but big freeze last night and the course has held up beautifully. This really is dynamic skiing and great pictures. Blue sky day. As good as it gets here in Coronet Peak. So Adam Samper on course, the elder of the two very talented brothers from Slovakia. Adam's a multiple winner in the Australian and New Zealand Cup Series. Nice flowing skiing, really good rhythm. Perfect conditions here at Coronet Peak now, and Adam is trying to make the most of that. And he is carrying really good speed here. Neat and tidy through the rollers and the flatter section down towards the finish, and that's a time of 56.55. And in bib number 4, Andrea Samper, 24 years old, the younger brother, and he'll be looking to see if he can outdo his elder sibling. Good aggressive skiing at the start, really smooth across the flat and setting up nicely. Really high and early and tight to the gates. Oh, a little mistake there. Could have so easily have come out the course, but a really good recovery. And I don't think he's lost too much time. Yeah, he's carrying good speed across the rollers, and another little mistake, but he's charging hard and he's across the line into second place. Just 2 skiers to go. And on course, Eric Reed from Canada. Superb run this morning, and he looks to be in great form. Oh, into the tuck early. Driving at the gates and carrying really good speed across this flat section. But he's got to set up his line onto the trickier, steep part, middle section of the course. And it looks as if he's done just that. This is superb, world-class skiing. Oh, just a little error, but I don't think he lost any time. Good rhythm. Into the tuck, across the line. Total time of 1:49.77, first place. Last skier wearing the yellow bib, Daniel Meyer of Austria. Fastest on the first run, of course. Top 30 in reverse. A lot of pressure, but the course has held up really well. Great conditions, and he will be hoping for a smooth, aggressive run and to keep that narrow margin from the first run. Oh, and he's gone wide and low on that tricky blue gate. Now he's definitely lost some time, and another mistake. Well, even if he's really tight and carries what speed he has, I think he's lost too much. Down across the finish line, sure enough, it's only good enough for 4th.
And he doesn't do it, Eric Reed.
So confirming the results from today's men's giant slalom, and it's Eric Reed from Canada who takes the gold medal. And for the ladies, it's Sarah Hector from Sweden who takes gold and first place.
For me, it's been really good training to see also to have to work with being nervous and handling all of that, and feeling race kind of feeling is still trying to do the right things, which is quite challenging, I think. So it's been really good training in that sense too. And today it was amazing conditions, sunny and perfect in the slope. That's nice.
Well, 2 podiums in 2 days, it's perfect for me. And since I've been home, no, I've been away so long for from skiing, so I'm pretty happy with 2 podiums, the 2 first races in 2 years, so I'm really happy.
It was so fun to ski today. Slope was great and awesome snow. Free skiing was great, and was really looking forward to this race. And I had 2 good runs, and I'm really happy about the result. Yeah.
Guys, a big round of applause. Great racing today.
I've been down here a couple times to ski in New Zealand, and I've traveled to a few different places. And it's important to get on that winter snow during the summer. And I think this is some of the best training in the world. So to come down to Coronet and get these races in a challenging field like this, it's like that's the reason why we do it.